All right, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Late Night Q&A with ZodWriter. This is episode 92, and I got one of my best friends that I've ever known from the internet at all, Syl Abdul. You know him, you love him. This is fantastic. Syl, it's great to have you here, man, as always.
Yeah, definitely. You said 92, so I think I had a couple of these episodes.
Oh yeah,
I've on here a few times. Yeah,
I mean, it's not like you and I are any strangers to collaborating with each other. So, I mean, because for those that don't know, Syl and I started out as streamers together. We started out the whole thing on YouTube because I was a radio guy. I wasn't on YouTube at all, and the whole thing was that we got together because we were part of a little boy band.
A boy band, right?
Right. A little boy band that hasn't matured in how many years now? They're still doing the same Backstreet Boys hits they were doing way back then. And it's amazing, Syl, because we've gone through so much as a group. I mean, as Syl Nation, as people, we've gone through so much over these years. I feel like we've grown as content creators like 20 years since our boy band days. I mean,
I tell you, like you said, we was kind of almost thrown together, and at that time, that was my first time streaming or doing anything, on camera or whatever, and it was a big deal. It still is a big deal that it was like, oh, we got ZodWriter, because the OGs know like how you was very active, you was pretty much active the same way you are now, but it was like, this is ZodWriter, you know what I mean? That like validated that boy band, because like none of us had names, it was just
right. It was all new. It was all new. It was a whole new thing, and I, and it was funny because you and I, we there was something that like drew us together. Like we knew, and I don't know, it's like I kind of just felt like when you and I got to know each other that we were going to connect and we were going to be collaborating a lot, regardless of what happened with the boy band. And for me, it was like I'll never forget. For me, that occurred to me more than anything else when I actually did a radio episode. Now I think I'm gonna upload that at some point, but that was the radio episode right after you departed the boy band, and I had you on my radio show, the ZodWriter show, when I was doing PSN radio, and I interviewed you, and it just the entire time the stuff we were discussing, all I kept thinking about was, man, this is it. That boy band made no freaking sense. We didn't need to be there. It was like
a lot of things don't make sense on the internet, but I'll say, like you said though, it's like we're light years away from that, man. And this was the funny thing back then. It was like I think I even like say Syl Abdul totally. Oh, just Syl.
Right,
and
just
Syl, and like no one knew, what I was about or anything. And it's like now, it's just like how many weirdos know me now? It's amazing. It's really amazing.
It is, and I think you're 100% right in that it's definitely light years away. It definitely is. Like I swear we've lived different lifetimes since then. It just doesn't feel like the same existence. It really doesn't.
You say you never upload that last one? Because that was a weird time when I left the group, and it was probably like within that month. I think, was it just me or was it the group that you did that radio episode? It was just me, right?
No, because you had already left. I interviewed all of them. Okay.
Right.
And they were, they were the Backstreet Boys, whatever. I interviewed them, and then I had separate. No, and it was it aired on the radio. It aired on PSN radio. But what I'm thinking about doing now is uploading it to YouTube, because this way people can hear it, because you could tell the difference in, and I remember talking to them like after you had done that interview, and I remember talking to them, and they were like, well, we know how much you miss. We know how much you miss Syl. We know how much you love Syl. It's like, yeah, Syl's my buddy. Like, you guys don't understand. This is ridiculous. I'm like, I don't, like, so because at that moment there was so much going on, and it was like, that was when you were coming into your own. I think you had just start. I don't know if you at that time, I have to listen to it again. I don't know if you were at that time just starting out with Cultured Nerd, or if you'd already moved into Geekosity. I think you'd already moved into Geekosity, because there was a transition, and it didn't take long for you to go from Cultured Nerd to Geekosity. So I'm just trying to figure out where that
Cultured Nerd, that was right when we started the band. Shortly after that's when I met Lightcast, and he initiated me into the Cultured Nerd, and like that's a whole story there, Cultured Nerd. But once I met Geekosity, because first I met Small Screen. No, was it Geekosity first, then Small Screen. And so I was telling Taylor of Cultured Nerd, and I'm gonna preface this by saying anything I say about Taylor of Cultured Nerd, me and him have talked since all those weird days, and we left on good terms. So I just want to make that clear. But just for the sake of the story, I'm gonna tell you, like, just what happened. But I saw some weird stuff with Lightcast and Cultured Nerd, and so I started shifting away from them. And then I met Small Screen, Geekosity. So I left Cultured Nerd first, and then that's when I left the boy band. It's kind of like the same period, moving to Geekosity.
Yeah, it just and I just remember being so, blindsided by it. Like, I remember it feeling to me like I got hit in the face with a Mack truck. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the whole thing was so bizarre. But looking back on it now, I say to myself, well, no, it was actually the best thing that could have happened, because it paved the way for you leaving, me leaving. The boy band is the boy band, and they continue to drone out facsimiles of their former hits, but they're no longer as good as what they were, and they'll never be as good as what they were.
It's nothing like those original. First,
I don't know what 20 episodes, maybe. I don't know. We were see, and what it was that it was like a unique chemistry. Like, I don't want to see, and here's the thing. I'm saying boy band, but I legitimately am pointing it in that direction for the simple fact that in every boy band, there's always two people in that band that are the most creative, charismatic, and most talented as far as coming up with things, actualizing things on the screen, and making things happen, or creating music, whatever they're doing. And I just kind of feel like when you take away, those talented elements, and all you're left with is people that wouldn't have been together if it wasn't for those two people in the first place. It's like, for example, like if you look at the most extreme and pretentious way of viewing this, you could almost look at how, for example, like the Beatles, and believe me, I'm not comparing our boy band, but I'm going to say this just in terms of an example. Like, if you take Paul McCartney and John Lennon away from the Beatles, okay, and all you're left with is George and Ringo, and then George and Ringo replace John Lennon and Paul McCartney with two losers. It doesn't bode well for what you're trying to do, because the entire vision changes, the entire the entire makeup,
it's a different energy,
content is totally different. And it's like you said, it's a totally different energy. And for me, that's where, that's where I, how I kind of see it, in my own kind of warped point of view. I kind of see it like that. Like, you know what?
It's funny because I don't know. I don't mean you haven't talked much about just that group and stuff like since then, but like that interview, the last interview you did with me for your radio show, I pretty much had the same sentiments that I wasn't trying to have hard feelings. I wasn't trying to have hard feelings with everyone. And actually, I tried to do a reunion during the Us United run, where everyone was doing different streams. And I'll just say one member of the boy band, never forgave me or something. I don't know. So it just didn't work. That didn't work out. But that would have been a nice little thing. If it really was about Us United, that would have been a nice reunion. But, like I said, I don't know why it was really hard feelings, but, that's how I was left,
Yeah, I always had thoughts in my mind about one day having a reunion. But in my mind, I always believed that if it was going to be a reunion stream of some sort, it would have to be the original 4.
Yeah.
And the other 2 losers couldn't be involved. That's the only way it would work. I couldn't see it being a scenario where you have, where you have them. You don't need extra. Okay. You just need the original 4. And I honestly think, if it were ever possible, I mean, it wouldn't be something that couldn't happen, but it's just the fact that so much time has passed, and we've all grown as individuals to the point where, like you and me, I just think about all the stuff that we've gone through just over this past year alone, and like, the previous year and all these things. We're different people.
Yeah,
and we've all grown together. It's a completely different space now. So you wouldn't. So for something like that, to work, you would need some real, I guess, for lack of a better way of looking at, some real, come to Jesus moments to occur.
Well,
because I really don't see how
I don't see it happening.
Work. Yeah. I don't ever see how it would happen.
It's one. I mean, when we talk about the originals, and you'll know who I'm talking about, but there's one of the originals that just never got over the fact how I left the group. I'm gonna give credit to the other original one that they did reach out to me after Mikey Sutton passed away. So I thought that was good form on their part. Though it's still this rift or whatever. But the other one and the same one that still has an issue with me, that's the same one that didn't want me to come back for the reunion. And I think they still have me blocked too. So it's like, so that is what it is, I never see it happening. I really never see it happening because it's been kind of too many years of pettiness by one particular person, to be quite honest with you. And that's unfortunate. And again, I'm talking about the originals, the replacements, and I'm not trying to dump on them too hard here.
I am. I can't stand them. I can't
just
for
the
sake. They're just completely.
When we talk about that group, I'm strictly talking about the originals. I really don't talk about the replacements. But yeah, just one in particular. They continue to have an issue, and so I'm just like, hey, bro, I'm good with moving on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good.
Yeah, we've moved on to a brand new, to so many different. There's so many different layers to that moving on that you're talking about. I mean, you built Syl Nation with the help of all of us, with all of your friends. You built Syl Nation. Syl Nation is huge. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And we're all still together. We're all great friends. We all talk to each other. We all communicate. We're all very, very collaborative and cordial towards one another. And these are the kinds of things that, you don't have if it's fake or if people are not real. Because we've had a few wayward people that have strayed and have gone off the rails over the last couple of years, but those people are, for lack of a better way of describing it, have shown their asses
Well,
in ways that we're not, we don't even have to comment on. But ultimately, for the most part, what I find so fascinating is that our core group is still all here.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this, like I said, this community, I mean, like you said, it's wild, what we all built. And when we say Syl Nation, we say Mikey Verse, it's all the same. It's all the same people. It's all the same collaboratory efforts. You know what I mean? And so that, I'm surprised how far this kind of reach and how people kind of even use the community for like cloud and kind of build up their own platform. Like I'm surprised that even happened. Like, for me to even have a platform and for people to kind of build off of that, which is cool if we cool. And that's been an amazing ride. I mean, obviously a huge part of that, is late great Mikey Sutton. That really put my channel on the map after I left the boy band. And that was like a leap of faith right there, because I believed in what Geekosity was doing and will continue to do. And that may come up again later, but Geekosity continues. If people don't realize that, Mikey Sutton's family signed off on it, and so we're going to keep that rolling in his name, right? So, but that was a huge part of my channel. I don't know if you remember back then, Zod, like when I first went to Geekosity and I started doing these pop-up streams. Now I'm going to admit this here on ZodWriter's channel here. I was purposely going live when the Culture Nerd when Lightcast was live. I was purposely doing that to just see if there was enough audience that was leaving Lightcast and Culture Nerd to follow what I was building or not, right? And so I was purposely doing it just to see if a few of y'all would show up. And it was really cool seeing just the support on those pop-up streams. And that's when things really got weird too, because that's when like they tried to like cancel me. I don't know if you remember that. Like Culture Nerd literally tried to bury, like I had like 100 followers, 20 subs, and they tried to like end my career. It was like amazing. It was an amazing time at that time. But thanks to Mikey, really, that was kind of like a crutch I had back then to be like, well, if people are choosing me or the Culture Nerd, then hey, I'm bringing you Geekosity, and let's build from there. And that's really how Syl Nation, it was like a strip down and start over. That's literally what it was.
Yeah, and it paid off, because everything that everything that Syl Nation was starting to be was all reinforced by Mikey Sutton and the Mikey verse and everything that Mikey did for all of us and everything that Mikey was trying to do. I've said this so many times, it's like when people ask me about Mikey, there's people that will ask me about Mikey that know nothing about Mikey, and I'll just be like, listen, if you don't know at this point, you could just do a simple search. Oh, yeah. I say go to my channel, go to Syl's channel, go to Skywalker's channel. It's like there's no level when you think of Mikey Sutton. I honestly feel like he was such a big part of everything, and he was so ingrained in it, and he loved us all, and we all loved him. It's like you can't. I think this is the reason why it feels the way that it does for you and I, as far as like when we talk about the boy band in a such far past, because once Mikey got on board, it was like the train was gone. It left the station. There was no going back. It was more than just an evolution of sorts. It was like a transcendence.
Yeah. We went to another level as far as what we was doing, the community. And like you said, if people don't know about Mikey, all you gotta do is look at the first video I had on my channel. I pulled up when Yahoo quoted him and other websites, creditable websites, was credited Mikey Sutton for huge scoops. and I was introducing him, to my audience. And I was doing it that way to show y'all the paper trail. Like it was always about receipts from the beginning. And so it's no excuse, but the way the Mikey's approach, similar to mine, is kind of like no nonsense. And that just pissed off everyone. That does really, because we're not coming through the front door. We're coming through the side door. We're coming, we're crawling through the attic and, introducing ourselves in the building. And, a lot of gatekeepers out there, they still don't like it. People wonder, man, Syl, why is there so many haters and people, hate Syl Nation and stuff like that? We piss off gatekeepers. That's what we've always done. And, that part will always continue. And then those that wants to conform, those are the ones that fell away, pretty much.
And it just goes to show, it's like because I always laugh when I look at the people that pulled away from us, that pulled away from Syl Nation, pulled away from the group. There was one guy, and this is not a clapback, so we're not mentioning names or anything, but there was this one guy who who was constantly making videos about, I don't know, Hobbits or some show on Amazon Prime. And I just remember, this guy having the audacity to come at you over some stuff. And I just remember your response being, why don't you keep going back to making videos about hobbits and elves and whatever it is? I mean, dude, what's your problem? You're like dogging out hobbits and elves. I mean, dude, what's the issue? Like it was so classic, and at that point it was like, you know what? Yeah, really, dude. Like, there's no need for that type of jealousy and like weird. It was one of the weirdest turns I'd ever seen. And I remember we were all in the chat that day, and we were all just like, what the hell was this guy? What's this guy's problem? Like, just went off the track for whatever reason. And I still to this day don't understand it.
Like you said it. You said it's jealousy, and that's the weird thing. It's like, one thing I learned from Mikey. I mean, people gotta realize, when I started streaming with Mikey, I didn't mind it, but I was so overshadowed. In the beginning, people was like, "Oh, this is just Mikey, some black guy." It was that's a quote from a Warner Brothers insider. It's like, it's Mikey and some black guy, and I, created my own lane, and I assume that's what other people do. I mean, the person you're referring to, like I said, they made their channel off of, hobbits and shit, right? So I'm like, you good? Like, why you have your own lane? Why are you mad at my lane? It was so weird. You do your stupid videos about hobbits. You somehow have a following of people that like love your stupid videos. The outrage about hobbits. I mean, it's outrageous. Like he literally would have thumbnails of like hobbits with like big eyes bugged out and all kinds of stuff, and like would be totally trashing the show. I'm gonna be honest with you. I never watched, that Lord of the Rings show that they put on Amazon, because I was a big fan of the Peter Jackson stuff, and I had heard that they hired that Peter Jackson was supposed to be a consultant for that show, but they never used him. So I never got into it, because I was just like, I don't think it's going to be good. But I mean, this guy took it to a whole nother level. I mean, literally every day he would have videos. And he was getting views. So that was the thing I didn't understand. It was like, doesn't this guy realize that he has more to gain by working with Syl and Syl Nation and the rest of us than creating a divide over some bizarre petty jealousy that doesn't need to exist? Because here's the thing, we all respected this dude. Nobody was like, it wasn't like where we were going at this dude like he was somebody we didn't like. We all respected him, and we all literally
rolled out the red carpet for him whenever we could, because he's a good guy. He's got a pretty good following. He's not only that, he was kind of like-minded with us when it came to the Snyder stuff. But even if you flash to where we are today, he's kind of gone. He's kind of gone off into the 50-50 world with what's his face.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm confused. I sit here and I think to myself, what is it with these guys? I mean, like, I don't like. There's no reason for it to get so personal.
Because anything that I've done, I try to be as transparent as possible. Like any information I put out there, and that's one thing, I said with Mikey from the beginning. I was like, I just want them to trace everything. So I would do like clips of videos or clip out the scoop and things like that, because I want y'all to follow the trail. That's how Syl Nation grew, because y'all saw the trail. I wasn't just some stranger saying, hey, I heard something, eye emoji. I hate accounts like that. I mean, those anonymous accounts and things like that. I mean, do what you do, but I think you rather, want to know where it's coming from. And if it's a source I can't tell you, just know the track record they had, right? And, that's how I do it. Now, like I said, other people, they rock with how they rock.
The fluorescent bulb guy had some issues.
Yeah. Nessa Noel, on my channel, look up The Purge. That explains everything with like ass, culture nerd, accusations. I put everything out there for people because I want you to trace it. And then you got idiots out there that it's like they looking up like wrong information. It's like all my stuff is out there. This is very easy. It's very easy to see what I've said when I've said it. But people they want. I learned that people choose to be confused just to fit their narrative. They just choose to not see what's right in front of them.
I mean, and I've noticed that a lot with, and we've noticed this, because you and I've talked about this a few times with, like, for example, like authors like Boris Kitt, who they'll just like throw out, these ridiculously speculative articles where there won't be anything of substance there, but there'll be all this speculation, and then the people that hate the Snyder fandom and hate us will run with it on social media like it's 100% confirmed gospel fact. Okay, that this is what's going on. Like I just keep thinking about when everybody said, "Oh, Snyder's done with DC. Right. He's moved on." Right? Remember that narrative, and it was all conjecture by a writer who is not a fan of Snyder anyway, and wanted to project that viewpoint. And it's just so crazy to me. Like
what I learned is that just being, I guess, in the scoop game, from my point of view, there is like a strong anti-Snyder cabal out there. Like that is real. They send every internet scooper after me and their minions when I said Ben Affleck was on set for Aquaman. They sent the house at me. Okay, it was insane because I was giving Snyder fans a glimmer of hope, and it was confirmed 2 days later. What I reported. And then with Cavill and Black Adam, so it's like they literally it is an anti-Snyder underbelly on social media. That is real. It started in Jeff Johns' days. Mikey told y'all they were trying to trip him up years ago with fake Snyder, slander. And so that is a real thing. And just realize, just as Snyder fans, if you align yourself with Snyder fans on social media, you're automatically a target for certain people out there. That just comes with it, and then when you're trying to bring information, they're like, oh man, we need to crucify him now. Like, how dare you?
It's the strangest. It's the strangest thing that I've ever been a part of in any fandom. I mean, I've never seen such a, such a effort on the part of the hate big brigade. It's just so crazy. I mean, they come at you from all angles.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if you're saying anything positive about the Snyderverse, about Snyder's
Mhm.
movies. I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing it even now with Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
How the author of the Rebel Moon book, V. Castro, is getting attacked on social media as well. We're seeing it with Rebel Moon, and this is why I've been saying Snyder derangement syndrome is a real thing. It
That's
really
a real
is.
thing.
These people are not playing when it comes to Snyder. These are the kinds of people that will literally physically do something. That's how crazy they are in the head when it comes to their Snyder anger. It's ridiculous. I never got it's like up to the the whole this whole thing. I was never used to getting death threats. Now I just
Mhm. Mhm.
accept that anything that I post, for my book or anything with
Mhm.
promoting Snyder in any way could lead to somebody threatening my life. I just accept that that's a reality
Yeah.
because there's so
Yeah.
many burner accounts out there.
Mhm.
There's so many, where it's just complete anonymity created just to say the most vile, disgusting things you could say to another human being.
Mhm. And that's social media as a whole, and
Yeah.
I'm sure other fandoms kind of have different factions and stuff like that, but it's just us and our experience. Yeah, it's a real thing, man. Especially when they see you as, like a voice. Like I said, Zod, you've been in this community for the longest, so obviously you've been a target of people with fake accounts and things like that. And so that's social media, and I am kind of learning now. Like, there's no reasoning with people that just wants to attack you just because you like a movie. So I'm learning to block more recently. Like, it took me a couple of years because I would literally just be like, you know, try to reason like you can't be this weird, but they really are.
Yeah, and Geek Defense Initiative makes a great point here. This remember that prick that used Mikey and Autumn's death to taunt you on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had posted my
disgusting people.
James Gunn my mini audio book on YouTube about how James Gunn's fans don't exist, they're not real, and somebody posted on there something along the effect of Zod, get help or you're going to end up like Autumn Snyder and Mikey Sutton. So you see, it's those kinds of things
Yeah,
and I left that comment up for the simple fact that that just goes to show you the type of people we're dealing with.
yep,
We're not
exactly.
dealing with normal people. We're not dealing with people that have the ability to reason correctly or even think. I don't know if all of these people are mentally deranged or if they just get off on that negativity. They feed on that
Mhm.
negativity, so they have to constantly perpetuate it. That's
Yeah.
the one part that I haven't been able to quite map yet. But like you, I've
Yeah.
learned that the block button is my friend.
Yeah, because it's mostly, like I said, anyone, first off, if they use an anonymous account, they're already a coward, right? So just think of the type of characters we're dealing with here. I'll respect them more if they was on their real account talking greasy like that. So they're not. So they want to hide. So when you think of people like that, it's like, okay. Like if they say just vaporize them. Like, just it's no talking to faceless whores, basically. There's no reason to talk to them.
And I've been struggling with the whole idea is James Gunn's fandom on social media, particularly on Twitter, mainly built on bots because
Mhm.
I don't think any of the people that come at you defending, it's funny how anytime anybody comes at you defending James Gunn or attacking you because of something you posted about James Gunn, they never have an argument. It's
Yeah.
automatically a personal thing. It's it's automatically either attacking you because of the way you look, or attacking you because of whatever reason, or just calling you a vile name, rather than, or threatening your life, rather than, giving you a constructive response to what you said. So I've always, and that's always the case with these gun fans. I've never actually had a debate with somebody who is an actual fan or supporter of gun who actually wants to have a conversation.
Yeah, it's rare. Because there was a few accounts you would, seeing, because I invite dialogue, right? Like I used to, early on my channel, I kind of stopped early on. I would invite just strangers on the panel, right? And they would be like, "Oh, I don't like this, I like that," And after a while, I'm like, "Okay, these people are crazy." But it's like a few people, they would act like, and this is how weird it is. They got this much time a day to act like they want to have a conversation about gun, and then they turn it into, all of Zach's movies are shit. It's like, bro, like, why are you in this conversation with me? Like, why? Who? Like, I had people, they would become a member on my channel just to like spy on us. Weird.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Dude was literally paying you to spy, when in reality, nothing that you were saying was not information he couldn't have gotten. He didn't need to spy. He didn't have to spy. Essentially, this is what people don't realize about that. Membership, you're preaching to the choir. You are coming out and talking to people that already buy into what you're saying and believe in you, and you are just filling in the blanks. There is no there. So that in and of itself made no sense for this person to do. And that to me was just the wackiest thing ever. So you're gonna spend money on somebody that you don't like. You're gonna literally pay this dude monthly
membership. And I'm just like, and if you remember back then, some of y'all in the chat, there's a few of y'all that are members, and it's like it would be a member stream, and they would be commenting like weird stuff, and I'm like, no, let them talk. They were paying member, like just let's hear him out. Let's hear him out, because he's paying monthly just to talk to us. So that was very weird. But again, these are the type of people. I mean, you see their character over time. And as far as with the gun stuff, like how big of a footprint does gun have on social media? Well, I mean, that run with gun stuff died out like in 2 hours when they did that hashtag run with good. Now, I still hold to the fact, that if he hires good people, good writers and directors, I think it could be some decent DC stuff. Him personally, I'm 50-50 with everything he's put with Charles James Gunn. I like the first Guardians, but he stole that story. Then I didn't like the second one. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
The second one was so bad because the second one was something that he wrote and directed. So that gives you an indication of what you can expect more of with the DCU. And my whole problem with Gunn from a creative perspective is just simply that, like, if you look at his body of work, there's nothing that he has done that says this is the guy to run DC. This is the guy to make a Superman movie. I've got no problem with him going off and making little movies in the universe and doing his thing. But we saw how badly the Suicide Squad flopped. We saw how mixed to varying degrees his TV show Peacemaker was.
Peacemaker upsetted me.
We saw that. So I don't understand what makes people think that he's going to somehow be profitable, that he's going to somehow bring DC into the next generation as a popular thing. It's going to be a hard flop, and it's going to be terrible.
And like I said, I mean, with my platform, is like we're going to be right there to see how it unfolds for sure. You know what I mean? And I think I've been pretty fair. That's the funny thing with these gun people. I've been probably the most fair person of the Snyder fandom.
You have been very fair. I would say
I'm just gonna see
you've been very fair. You've been very fair.
It's like but But if it's trash, we're going to have a roast session, Zod. You already know. Like, I mean,
A-Pass and I tend to get into our personal issues with Gunn a little bit, but the thing is it's like I've gotten to the point where I see James Gunn as like almost like the boogeyman of DC at this point, because I don't feel like he's doing anything to move the brand forward. It's like what you and Mikey used to preach early back in the day about, David Zaslav and protect the DC brand. We're getting anything right now. We're getting anything but protect the DC brand. I mean, this is kind of Syl, this is almost like the greatest proof that we have that parallel universes exist. Somehow we all shifted from a timeline where everything was going great with Abdi and DeLuca, the stuff that you and Mikey were talking about, it was all coming true. We were all on the path with Black Adam and all that. And then all of a sudden we shifted into this reality where, hey, James Gunn, he's the head of DC and he's doing this. The worst possible person that could have got that position is somehow leading everything now, and it is crazy. I mean, I've never seen a bigger narcissist take a role like that. That's
as a DC fan, man. Like, and I'm talking about like since the Keaton, Batman '89 days, right?
Yeah, all the things Gunn said about Batman '89, by the way.
It's like to see what happened this past year with DC films, like. There has to be a case study on just like how do you sync a brand faster than what just happened to DC? Like you go back to the end of 2022, Black Adam didn't do the best, right? As far as numbers wise. How did you somehow come under that for the entire year of 2023? Like that made no sense seeing, everything just, flop. It's unheard of. At least with Marvel, they tried to recoup a little bit here and there. Guardians 3 actually did good in the box office. But with DC, it's just like, no, like it's going to get worse every single film worse with the numbers. That's crazy.
And I don't think anything has been done essentially at this point to move the needle, to right the ship. What we're getting now is more of the same. His DC to me looks almost like it's going to be a comedy / parody of what we were hoping for with DC. And like you said, you want to give, I look at it this way. I always want to give somebody new coming in the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to give Matt Reeves the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, Matt Reeves, with what James Gunn is doing now, James Gunn is literally making Matt Reeves look like Zack Snyder. And that's insane. But that's what's happening at this point.
I almost rewatched Matt Reeves the Batman. Now, if people don't remember that epic review I did, Zod was on that video with me. And all the Reeves bots came after me after that. Zod, he was attacking me after that.
You were
that and the Batman game.
Like you wouldn't believe. Oh my God.
When I had Woz on my channel, they came after me for that too, because Matt Reeves stole Chris Woz's story, right? But I still only watched Matt Reeves the Batman one time. But after all this stuff with James Gunn, like I tried to start Matt Reeves the Batman again. And as soon as he slowly walked out of the shadows, I had to turn it up. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do this to myself. It can't be this bad. Like, are you going to make me watch Matt Reeves? No, sir.
Yeah. And I was like that too. I was like, man, I can't rewatch this movie. I wish that I liked it enough to revisit it, but that would make me a hypocrite if I started watching this movie.
I can't do it.
I
tried. I'm gonna give part 2 a chance. I mean, if he makes it, because looks like Gunn's gonna fast track his. Of course, he's gonna fast track his Batman. Like what's going to happen to Reeves?
Well, here's the thing though, and in James Gunn's mind, he's probably thinking, look, I tried to give Matt Reeves the opportunity to put his Batman in the DCU. Matt Reeves said no. So now if I cancel the Batman because I want to fast track my Batman, he's got nobody to blame but himself. That's going to be the mentality of the narcissist that is James Gunn here. We are not, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what's going to happen, because remember, Matt Reeves walked once before for the Batman because of creative issues initially when they first started doing it. There were things that he wanted that the studio wanted changed. There were some differences he had with the studio. There was all that stuff with Ben Affleck, and then Ben Affleck ended up being gone, and then then all the rumors about the differences between Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves and all the different things that we all covered over time. I don't think that to me, it would almost be a no-brainer for James Gunn. In fact, if I was James Gunn, thinking the way James Gunn does currently, I would cancel it. I'd be done. I'd be like, we're moving on, because it
makes sense. There's no reason.
Not that it would be a good thing for him to do, because then you're gonna. But the one thing it could do is that it could unite the Matt Reeves fans with the Snyder fans at that point. Right. Because now we're all feeling each other's pain at this point. So
there's no reason for both of those. And we've all been saying that since they announced this DCU slate. Like, why do you have another Batman film and Matt Reeves is right there? Now, the latest I heard is, Matt Reeves Part 2 is still on a production schedule, but we know that can change. I mean, and nowadays we should know as a fandom, nothing's set until the film actually comes out. I mean, you can shoot an entire film and you never see it. Like, we've seen this a couple of times. So if I'm Matt Reeves, I'm sure his contract is ironclad, because I think Gunn's going to find some wiggle room somehow, if I'm just guessing.
And the reason I think that Reeves is as good as gone, I'm going to give you one word. I think Reeves is as good as gone because of one word: Cavill. We know how popular Henry Cavill was, and they didn't have no problem parading Henry Cavill out in front of the world and then taking him away and taking the suit out of his closet. This is what I'm talking about. If James Gunn has the balls to get rid of Henry Cavill, who is a worldwide phenomenon as far as beloved in the role, even people that don't like Snyder's take on Superman love Henry Cavill as Superman. So if he had the balls to get rid of Superman, get rid of Henry Cavill and replace him with a lookalike, I don't think that he's going to have any problem whatsoever getting rid of Matt Reeves and the Batman.
I think there's some behind the scenes stuff going on. I mean, I briefly was touching on, because I get production info, principal photography info. That's mostly what I get. And Matt Reeves, the Batman, was slated to go into production like early this year, and it just kept sliding. Every time I got an update, it kept sliding. Like, it was to the summer. Now it's a late summer going into the fall. All of a sudden, Reeves is saying, I still got to kind of figure out the script. You know what that means when they say, we can't crack the script?
I remember when two famous directors said this. I remember when Ben Affleck said that. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Joss Whedon said that, when they were asked, because remember, Joss Whedon was allegedly going to direct something for DC. I think it was Batgirl. And Joss Whedon was on an interview where he said, I just couldn't crack the script. He used those words.
Yeah.
So I think Ben said that as well. So I think that's industry speak for, sorry, guys, this isn't happening.
So, Reeves fans, I'm just saying, join us in the sun, because we'll see. We'll see what happens this summer.
I got a $4.99 super chat from Castillo's Way. What's up, man? Thank you so much. Says, reminder to all watching, Syl had a space on Twitter with DC Snyder fans to discredit him, and they all fell flat one by one, and Syl kept this cool. Let's talk a little bit about that space that you did, Syl, because I have the most respect for a person, for you, that I could possibly have. You are one of the people that, like I said, when it comes to online, man, and it's like how we got to know each other, it's like there's nobody in this space that I respect more. And when you did that space, it was literally like I was getting visions in my head of you literally like the character that Mikey Sutton created for you, Silver, literally fighting off Blade style, literally fighting off all of these betas and just pieces of garbage just coming at you one by one, and you handled it all so professionally and so respectfully. That's the other thing. You were so respectful to all of them. I mean, you had the guy with the pink-haired mohawk who came on there and was talking like, 1,000 words a minute. You couldn't understand anything that was coming out of his mouth. He was literally he reminded me of a transformer. And you got a
little flustered.
Yeah, he got really flustered, and you handled it. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, like, what was going through your mind at that time? Like, how did you keep it together? Like, I mean, I understand that, and again, you're a professional, and you know how to handle it, and it's under that kind of pressure, but they were just coming at you left and right. It was like you were like Ben Affleck in the warehouse scene in PBS. You were just taking them all out.
I tell you, that day, that was a funny day, because I was in the middle of me. I was dropping reports right after another. So I was feeling good because everything I put out was getting confirmed. Right. And that's funny. That was the same week I put out Cavill was on set for The Flash. Now, we all learned that was been confirmed. We all know he shot additional footage, and we know they didn't use it. Right. But so I'm feeling good about my track record. Right. And then I see on Twitter, I mean, people started DMing me. They're like, Syl, what's up? They got this space about you and Mikey. I'm just like, what's going on here? Like, and I look at the title and it says, Mikey and Syl Abdul are frauds. And it's like 1,000 people in there. I'm like, hold up now. I'm like on a crazy streak right now. And y'all putting your attention into this garbage, right? So I was like, I'm just going to, I'm going to pull up. All right, I'm going to pull up. So I went into there. As soon as I got in there, I heard pink hair talking. And so, like, he got the first headshot, when I came in there, and then he was done. And then my thing was that I'm here actually standing on truth. Like, if we want to have like we said earlier, if you want to have a real conversation about stuff, that's what I was there for. When they came with nonsense, I don't mind returning it in kind, in like nature. When you know that you're standing on truth, it really actually doesn't matter what anyone has to say. Now, if you are lying or hiding something, then yeah, you should have everything to worry about. So I knew anything I was going to say in there was the truth. I knew that you could confirm everything, or it was about to be confirmed what I was saying. But it showed me there because every internet scooper was in there. Okay, every single one. All these industry people was in there. This was, like a public attempt to like just lynch Mikey Sutton and myself, just by extension. And so me going into there and kind of just showing how much nonsense they were saying, I think that in a sense, like that just like, it's like history. That's like a historical moment people just remember because, like I said, I had nothing else but to say what was true. And it still stands. You know what I mean? That was their chance to be like, hey, this is your, Syl Abdul, you're a fraud. This is why. And they couldn't do it. So after that point, Zod, I was.
Oh, Syl, you froze, man. Are you still there?
My fault.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but yeah, it's like it's nothing they really could say. And so, like I said, yeah, I was there. I literally was going there just to have a conversation. Like, let's correct the misconceptions, and it turned into what it turned into.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it wasn't despicable, distasteful, and horrible enough for you to have earned the moniker with Mikey Sutton and some black guy, if that wasn't disrespectful enough. You have all these industry insiders doing everything they can to try and bring you down. And here's the thing about that. The only reason they're trying to bring you down is because you're speaking the truth. Whenever you speak truth, you have more haters than if you're just out there making up stuff. And I was experiencing this with, Pause Not Stopped, with the clips I was putting online.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting so much hatred and stuff. Why are you hating me for providing you this information? You're hating me because you're afraid the stuff that I'm telling you is true. Because if it comes out that the stuff that I'm telling you is true, if the stuff Syl and Mikey are saying is true, then that derails your entire platform. Because your entire platform is based on the opposite. Your entire platform is based on the Snyderverse is never coming back. This is not happening. This is that. It's like James Gunn is this. James Gunn. It's like, no, we are standing on truth, like you said. When you on truth, it's
nothing to worry about.
It's easy for anybody to come out and for clicks and views and come out and say Syl and Mikey are frauds. It's easy for them to do that.
This is why I say that we are like upsetting the establishment. Like we meant that when we talk about rogues and we're criminals. We're not following the rules. So like my sources seek me out. That's what people have to realize. Like, now, I don't live in Hollywood, California, and that's what pissed them off too. I'm just some black guy in Kentucky. That pisses them off. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm literally leaking information, and most scoopers that some of y'all still may follow out there, especially the anonymous ones, they're given stuff by the studios. These are like almost like press releases that they're giving you, disguised as scoops, right? And hey, I'm not gonna knock their hustle. It's just if you got me coming in there just blowing that up, you know what I mean? I'm sure I wasn't the only person in the world that knew Ben Affleck was gonna be on set on Aquaman. But why didn't they tell you?
Yeah, because that would have been against their narrative.
I keep freezing. Yeah, but that's what it's like. I don't know if you heard that last part, but yeah, it's like I wasn't the only person that knew about Ben Affleck and Aquaman, but other people knew, but they didn't want to tell you. So I upset at everything, throwing that out there, but that was good news for Snyder fans, you see, and that's what they don't want.
Right. They don't want good news for Snyder fans. And it all goes to where we are today with all of the haters and naysayers and industry people, basically going out there now whoring out Toby Emmerich's name as somebody to replace Scott Stuber over at Netflix. Okay. We know that that's not going to happen because we all know that Toby Emmerich was begging to get a position at Netflix when he knew he was leaving WBD. We know this. This happened like in 2022. We knew that, Toby was trying to get his name out there for Netflix. He wanted to sink his hooves into Netflix then, and they didn't want nothing to do with him. What makes people think? And again, these are people writing articles. That's all just conjecture. What makes people think that Netflix is going to suddenly have a turnaround and want to go from somebody like Scott Stuber, who's literally brought all kinds of success to the company, to somebody like Toby Emmerich, who has a reputation for running companies into the ground?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it takes no source or anything. It's just, this is negative for Snyder fans. Let's run with it. And Boris Kid, he throws a lot of conjecture out there. I caught him one time when I was telling y'all when Cavill was on set for Black Adam. It was after Comic-Con. After he didn't show up for Comic-Con, he then went on set and shot the Superman scene. And Boris Kid was trying to like contradict me indirectly. And so I'm just like, bro, like just with conjecture though, he was trying to do that. And I was like, okay, I see this is how they do it. When you have this platform like the Hollywood Reporter or Variety, you literally can just say whatever you want. Like, didn't they tell us Cavill will be at Comic-Con? You remember that summer? I think it was Deadline. Deadline literally said Cavill will be there. And then that like when he didn't show up, like a couple of days later, a different writer came up, was like, yeah, someone put a bogus rumor out there about Cavill at Comic-Con. I'm like, you did it.
Well, somebody else put a bogus rumor out there that Gal Gadot was going to be at Full Circle, and we know who that was. So the reality is that you've got to consider the source, and you've got to look at what these people are doing, and we're at a point where it's just a feeding frenzy. These people will do anything to try and discredit factual information that they disagree with because they don't want it to be true. That's the thing. You could disagree with facts all you want, but that doesn't make them any less factual. It just means that you disagree with them, and now you got to find a way to try and discredit the truth. And discrediting the truth doesn't really work well for a lot of people. It's sort of one of those things where when you do it, you kind of end up with egg on your face, as you pointed out when you did that Spaces, and you had everybody from a pink-haired weirdo to male-loving trash. That's what we were dealing with, and honestly, it's insane to me. I've never seen so much, in the way of like, don't you guys have anything better to do? Aren't your lives? Are your lives not full enough, not busy enough? I mean, maybe get into some hobbies, play some video games, watch some movies. I mean, go out to a club, do something. I mean, I don't get it. Like I
mean, unless this is their job. Maybe this is their job to suppress anything Snyder related. Like,
you need another job then, because I couldn't imagine being where it's a job where you actually have to sit there and your job is to basically heckle people and make up a bunch of BS to try and bring down other people's spirits. I don't understand
and they mostly use fake account, which shows you, I mean, we're not dealing with like adults, like, and I mean like in their brains. We're not dealing anyone with a fake account that's saying just like generalized accusations of someone. You literally can't take them seriously. This is what I've learned, if they're a faceless whore, you can't take them seriously because their whole life is a lie because they're on a fake account. It's pretty sad, actually.
It really is. It really is.
Sad way to live.
Like Sickness points out here, the social media, the social experimente went up in flames with that Space. And the pink-haired Mohawk gentleman was spitting all over his phone on that one, and that's 100% true. You could tell.
I mean, hyperventilated.
He was to the point where, and I will be honest with you, I fear for that man's mental health. I feel like that man needs some psychiatric treatment. Some of the things that some of the vile and disgusting things he will say on social media. I got to the point where he would like repost some of my stuff and comment so negatively and disgustingly that I got to the point where it's like, I'm not even going to acknowledge it. I'm not going to reply to you. I think the last thing I said to him was, I feel sorry for you and I'm going to pray for you, because he says some of the most like at the end of the day, it's just entertainment related topics. It's just
right.
So
it shouldn't be that deep.
If it's that deep for you, if it's that deep that it's affecting you on that level of personal, if it's affecting you personally like that, you need to seek help, or at least step away from the internet and live some life and have some life experiences, because this is not a healthy way to be. And from what I was able to tell about this person, he's like this about everything. It's not just these movies. It's not just Snyder fans. It's about everything from politics to
his life,
to baking, to the color of mittens. I don't know. He is just extreme on every level. And when you have people that are like that, I worry about their mental health. I mean,
there's mental health and those
sad.
who support them. It's more sad to the people that encourages him, I think they're worse than him actually, because it's like, dude, you see how whack this dude is, and y'all support this? Like, yeah, y'all stay over there. I'm good.
Yeah, and the Emancipator points out, pink-haired headshot, got that dead shot. Well, yeah. He didn't know how to defeat. He didn't know how to defend himself. In fact, he couldn't stop blabbering long enough to think and to give himself a chance to process anything that Syl was actually saying in that space. You guys, that space was epic. That was the greatest. I think that was the greatest space that's ever existed in this fandom, because it was one of those things where you literally, Syl is literally single-handedly taking them all down. Like, there is no, he's not getting any help. He's not getting any backup from anybody. He's taking everybody down. You were not
about 1 on 20.
It was super. This was Ben Affleck, Batfleck in the warehouse in BVS, just taking out thugs left and right. It was so epic, and I don't think there'll ever be another moment like this again in fandom, because I don't think people. I think now, you've established yourself to the point where it's Syl Nation, to where whether they love you or hate you or what, they have to respect where you're coming from. They have to respect.
Yeah. And that's literally all I kind of want.
You've earned your stripes. So there's no reason for people to, to go at you on that level, and they keep saying you're a fraud. And because I look at it like this. How many of these same people that made a career out of attacking Syl Nation, attacking all of us, attacking you and Mikey specifically, all came out of the woodwork, all being remorseful and regretful for what they said after Mikey passed away. I mean, let's just be honest. All these people coming out, oh, I'm gonna miss Mikey Sutton. Oh, up. Yeah, and you made an entire career out of bashing everything the man said. So what is it you're gonna miss about him? You're gonna miss having him there so that you could, because now you can't talk about him anymore. That's what you're gonna miss. It's not that you miss Mikey the man. You didn't love Mikey like we do. You miss having that target that you were perpetually shooting at and missing, because Mikey was always right. But that to me is the type of environment we're in, and the kinds of people we're dealing with. And it's hard because you and I, we like to stay positive. We really do. And I don't look like it, but we do. But
because my thing, like you said, though, it's like those who know. Like I always put that on Twitter. If you know, because well, I mean, it's like you know what I'm about now. So if you know, if you don't know, then I get go research or something. I don't know, but I've been moving the same way for multiple years now, and my track record is my track record. And that's because, and see, that's how I look at everyone else. That's how I say, okay, do I believe this person or not? I look at their track record, not what just weird fake accounts tell me. I actually look at what they actually do. And, that's how I researched Mikey from the beginning. And that's how I'll do with anyone else.
Yeah. And you met one of the greatest people on the planet in Mikey Sutton. I can honestly say that with all my heart, because Mikey is another one who, without people don't realize the depths in which he was there for all of us, the ways in which he was not only personally a great person to be around and to talk to and to get to know, but also the way he was helping us all creatively, and the things he was doing behind the scenes, and the way that things were I honestly, and I said this, I think I had posted about this on social media about how, Mikey was helping me a lot behind the scenes with Pause Not Stopped, because Mikey has industry sources. He had people that he knew that could get, he could get quotes, and he could get things, and he was like that, as Syl, because you've been working with Mikey all this time. And for me, it was just like, man, it's one of those things where the level that Mikey went for all of us, the way he would put himself out there and say, hey, we're gonna we're going to do it this way. And then the way he involved us all creatively with the great Dreamwalker and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we are a stronger community, probably stronger than we would have ever been because of Mikey Sutton. And I can honestly say that, having gotten to know the man and, for knowing someone like Mikey for such a short time. And that's the truth. We've all known Mikey for a short time. It wasn't, it shows you just how limited our time here on this planet is. And it's it's best to try and do what you can do for good and for the right reasons.
Make your days count. That's what I learned.
Don't waste your life with negativity like these people.
Exactly.
That's the thing I don't understand. I'm like,
Exactly.
they wish they had a friend like Mikey Sutton.
Yeah.
They wish they could have known a guy like Mikey. And that's the thing about Mikey. Mikey would have extended his hand to every single one of those people. And what would they would have bit his fingers off.
Yeah. And he has to some, and some of them, did, bite at him, and I think those crews, they wish they had our community. I mean, I really feel, what I'm saying, that we have something that's really cool. We're not, again, caught up in being shields, and I don't need no premiere passes for a shitty DC movie. I don't need that. Like, that's the perks that people get to shit on Mikey. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what you do this for, to get like an advanced copy of Peacemaker season 2. I'm good, man. I'm actually good.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. And I've said it before. I don't care about this Superman Legacy movie. I call myself ZodWriter, for Christ's sake. And this is the first Superman movie in the history of Superman since I've been alive that I don't care to see. And we've got a what I can assume to be a troll here in the chat, Venom Wire, saying the copium in this stream is off the charts. We're not. See, this is how I know you don't know me and you don't know Syl. We know each other so well that this is not copium in any way. We're talking
about our life.
This is about our lives. This isn't copium. There's no copium going on here.
This is why you can't take these dudes seriously, bro. Like, this man, we talking about life experiences. The copium. Like, bro, like, you wasn't there. Like, what is this man talking about?
Copium. Mikey. There's no copium here when we're talking about our real life experiences and beloved friends who have passed away. There's no copium here at all. This is just us talking. This is us. This isn't even. I mean, what are you? That's so crazy.
Who's like streams that they don't like? They don't like the people. They make a fake account just to talk shit, bro. That's so weird. That I don't have enough time, bro. Don't you gotta do like a email verification? Then you gotta go through that on another screen, and then you got. How do you have all this time, bro?
It's so funny because I tell people this all the time. Everybody, they've all got all these burner accounts and all these multiple accounts. I've got ZodWriter and only ZodWriter. I couldn't imagine creating anything else. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to be ZodWriter. What are we talking about here? Like who has the time for that crap, dude? Like
I hope they getting paid. For their sake, I hope they're getting paid running multiple accounts, bro. Because man, this time consuming. Like I got multiple channels. That's time consuming. Thankfully, they're monetized. You know what I mean? Like, man, because if they were, it's a waste of time. It'd be a total waste of time.
And speaking of our greatest of Syl, one of Syl's greatest hits, and the again, the copium. Thanks again, Venom Wire. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. This copium episode. The Emancipator says with the black suit, Syl came back and confirmed it, but he's coming back in the blue Man of Steel suit. That was the ultimate slam dunk. It really was, because wasn't it Mikey that first said he was going to be in the black suit? And then your sources said that he was going to be in the traditional Man of Steel suit.
So like you said, Mikey was first, that was one of the first articles that was on Geekosity, actually, that Cavill, him and Dwayne Johnson working together, and so he was going to be in Black Adam. And then getting closer to the release, one of my stories, they showed me the suit, bro. They showed me that's how close. That's all I can say with them. That's how close they were to the situation. He's wearing this suit. I was like, holy shit, that's the Man of Steel suit. I saw the sides.
He sent you a screenshot of the suit.
Bro,
the suit was literally
Cavill wasn't in
there
it.
It is.
The suit, it looked like some pajamas. Like, so Cavill like fills that out, bro. That's crazy. It's insane. And he was like, yeah, Man of Steel suit. Man of Steel suit. And so I asked Mike, I was like, Mikey, are you sure about the black suit? I just want to, because never would I want to, cross one of Mikey's stories. I was just like, Mikey, I'm kind of on fire right now, and I'm hearing something else with this suit. He's like, bro, go for it. Mikey was like, go for it, run it, And then Mikey heard about it after that as well, and so Mikey did a public retraction. Everyone that says, "Oh, Mikey made up stuff," or take the L and stuff.
No,
Mikey said, "I want to go public." And say, hey, you were right and I was wrong. And Mikey didn't have to do that.
Because here's my thing about that. If they really wanted to, they could have made Cavill's suit black in post the same way that Snyder did for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Because we all know that story, right? The studio wanted it to be, and then Snyder just went back and did what he wanted to do. So I wouldn't have been surprised if that was something that might have happened. Like, it was gonna be this suit. That was and then maybe in post. So in a lot of ways, you guys, it could have ended up where you were both right, but they ultimately decided to go with just the Man of Steel suit. So
Cavill was there, so Mikey was originally right.
Was there. Mike,
so
Mikey literally, you and Mikey literally described the scene, shot for shot, how it happened. Right out of Cavill coming out of the smoke. Come on, like if that doesn't and that's what I'm talking about. The difference between a legitimate source and somebody and some guy making stuff up about Hal Jordan being in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
and they were saying that for like a couple of years, weren't they? But
I can't even remember the actor's name who was supposed to be Hal Jordan, but the actor who was allegedly supposed to be Hal Jordan was all he was just a drone pilot. A drone pilot. He didn't even have a role, like a significant role in the movie, but he got his 15 minutes of fame because everybody thought he was
because some weird content creators. But when I got the story about the Man of Steel suit, I was actually leaving Seattle. So this is after I go up there and meet Mikey in person. Me and Alicia was up there. I'm on my way home. I get the story that morning on my way to the airport. And so if people watch that video now, like I'm in the airport saying, because I'm like, this is huge. And so I described the scene at the airport. Kids
crying. I remember you at the airport. I remember how you struggled with that over the sounds of the automated voices and things.
And so I had to get it out there because, this is very early in my, scooping career. So I was like, if I don't get it out, someone's going to beat me to it, right? So now it's like I can kind of just put out stuff when I want to now. But I was like, this is such a hot story. I got to get this out there. And, and it was confirmed. Yeah.
And the rumor was Cavill had COVID. That's why he couldn't make it. Oh, you're talking about to the
that was the cover.
Yeah,
that was the cover story. He left the set of The Witcher to go film Black Adam. He told the Witcher people, his people told them, "Oh, COVID, no, Cavill was going." He didn't want them to know. That was the cover story, and that's when he shot the scene when he was supposedly had COVID.
Shout out to the good Austin in the chat.
Good
Austin in the chat. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit here because we've been talking a lot about our fandom, of course, but you've got some other things that you do on YouTube, and one of the things that you do is you've started a sports channel with the good Austin, where you guys kind of do commentary on football, and you said you're getting into other stuff too, like
Mm-hmm.
basketball and other sports. What made you want to do that? Because as a diehard geek, I was sitting here thinking like, Syl Abdul is the last person I would have ever even expected to try and start a sports network. And I always wanted to ask you that, but I just never.
Yeah.
it was never the
It's
right
funny. I
time.
mean, it's just interest in like I always thought if I started a YouTube channel, it was going to be a gaming channel
Okay.
or sports. And because I watch sports all the time, and so I was thinking of a way to kind of launch with like during football season 2 years ago now, and the good Austin was like, "Hey, I'm about to do this pregame show, for football Sunday." And I was like, man, I was just thinking about doing one. I was like, let's do it together, right? And that's literally how it started. We just get on there, we talk about sports from our perspective, because, like you said, our background is the geeks, comic books, and CBMs and everything like that, and we just kind of bring it over to sports where we have references that only geeks would get, basically, but it's very natural, and we have a lot of fun with it, man. And we did it for a second season. Me and Austin went another season for the on his channel, and then we finally started the Still Nation Sports Network. Had a really good run during the NFL playoffs right now. I'm going to do some stuff for the Super Bowl, and we're going to expand. It just time is definitely an issue, Zod. So it's like I can't, I can't do like daily sports. So it's literally just a hobby. It's like when I have time to talk about a game, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And that's probably the best time you have on content, when you just do it just for fun, just because you just love talking about it. So, and that's what anything that I do is just, it's a little more, I won't say demand. Like my main channel, it's like, I want to, it's almost like I got to say something specific because of YouTube. They won't share my videos if I don't talk about something specific. With sports, it's just like, whatever. Let me just talk about the latest game that I like, or you know what I mean? And it's real free nature. And we're gonna expand. I'm gonna do some basketball. Just really just when I get the time.
I was like, man, I go in there and and I always, when I do these Q&As, I always put, where people can find you. And I'm like, as far as I know, Syl only has 3 YouTube channels.
Yeah, just
as far as I know. I'm like, let me just make sure, he doesn't have a 4th one. You're gonna start your like clay sculpting channel or something, because you're a man of many talents, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised if you had a 4th one out there somewhere. But I was like, okay, well, I definitely got to ask you about the sports thing, because you and the good Austin seem to be running on all cylinders with that, and you need to be doing.
That's a lot of fun.
And I mean, I got to admit, sports really isn't my thing. I get into football. My parents are big football fans, and I tend to get more into football than any other sport. But even that, I'm kind of like, it's hit and miss with me. I could take it or leave it, to be honest with you. So it's sort of that kind of thing. But so for me, when I saw you get into sports and creating a whole channel for sports, I'm like, I wonder where he's going to take that.
And I'll say too, like Austin's helped a lot. Necron and Skywalker, they've all chimed in, and it just really just when we have time, we just a few friends get together and just we talk sports and things like that. So that that's something. Like I said, that's a cool, just like a hobby. That's pretty much how I look at that channel. I know we got over 100 subs so far, and so I'm just like, hey, we're just doing it for fun, no matter what the numbers do.
And that's a great way to be, because I wanted to ask you too, as a content creator, since you're doing, since you are managing 3 channels and trying to do your thing, I got to admit, I was a little bit worried when you got on there and you made your announcement about making some adjustments and changing things, because you were getting a lot of views, particularly when you started talking about the big Cat Williams fiasco and all that, TMZ-ish kind of stuff. I got a little worried about you for a second
Yeah.
because I've seen a lot. I'd seen a lot of content creators lately doing videos about why they're leaving YouTube or
Oh.
totally changing,
Mhm.
what their platform is and basically moving away from what got them popular in the first place. And
Mm.
so when I saw what you were doing, I got a little nervous because I'm like, man, I get why you would do these shorts, for views and the
Mhm.
analytics and all that, but
Yeah.
ultimately, you don't want to move away from the things that got people
Mhm.
to know you
Well,
and
the
why people
core.
love you, the core. It's like
Mhm.
as I got kind of nervous, I'm like, man, but I know, but see, the thing is, I was a little bit nervous, but I wasn't too worried because
Mm.
I know you, and I know that you're smarter than that. You're not like gonna
Yeah.
infect your core audience just because
Ah,
you
yeah,
do
no.
something
It's
else
more
that
of
you're,
expanding. It was
yeah,
more of like letting really the more regular people that watch my channel, letting them know that you're gonna see a few shorts here and there, about just like pop culture stuff. And it's kind of expanding my topics. But like when I'm live, like you've seen my last few lives, it's the same show. It's nothing's really changed with that. And we're still talking the latest what's going on. Superman Legacy is in production right now, so I know I'm going to start getting some leaks from that. That's going to be interesting that we review together. So yeah, the show stays the same. I definitely want to focus on my members, more often. It's just expanding topics because, and I say this too because I'm, I'm not gonna be like updating everything James Gunn says like on Instagram and threads. Like it's not like Zack Snyder. Like if Zack Snyder does something on Vero, I'll do a whole video on that, right?
right.
And it's like, but James Gunn, it's like this isn't entertaining. So I need to talk about something else just or expand my topics a little bit.
Right,
So
because
that's what that was.
most people in Syl Nation do not like James Gunn. It's
Yeah,
just
they
the
don't
reality.
care, what I mean.
Right.
But my Geek Network channel, and that's really just what I did. I just kind of flip flop my two channels. Is that all more Marvel and even some James Gunn stuff. I put all that on the Geek Network channel, which is the second channel, and you just pick and choose what you want to watch over there. But when I'm live, that's on the main channel, and you pretty much get what you've been getting, for the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah. And Nessa Noel says, "What's up, Nessa? It's so good to see you."
Talk
It
to
says,
Nessa.
I get it now. I feel like the ones who had that Ben Affleck scoop were shills and being told to not say anything, but you're clearly not, and they got upset.
That's
Yeah.
possible. That's possible. My thing was, I don't know who else possibly had that. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only insider that had it. But they just got so upset when I put it out. You know what I mean? So that's the difference between me and them.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely. And the thing is, being a pro Snyder content creator, okay,
Mhm.
you you're you're gonna put more emphasis on it than these other
Right,
people.
right.
These other people, if they get something, I'll never forget when Mikey told the story about how when he got the scoop that the Snyder cut was going to get released, and he just kind of casually put it out there because he didn't
Mhm.
care. He was a Marvel guy. He wasn't really invested. He's just like, I put it out there. Yeah, the Snyder cut is happening. Yada, yada, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I loved every time Mikey told that story
Yeah.
because it just showed the evolution
Mhm.
in thought in the way that Mikey got, you know, from how he started to where he was. And it just, to me,
Mhm.
it just goes to show you, the personal journeys that we all go on. You know what I mean? Like, and to
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
that's a beautiful story. And I love
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah, at first it's like, who cares? Whatever, it's coming
Mhm.
out. Like, and but all of these content creators, anytime they get anything good, their job is to find a way to discredit it or make it
Yep.
not sound as
Or
big
suppress
as it
it
is. And
or
how we know this is true is Rebel Moon. We got to talk a
Mhm.
little bit about Rebel Moon. This is how we know
Mhm.
that it's all a scam, because whatever hatred you might have towards Zack Snyder's fan base with regards to the Snyderverse of DC, Rebel Moon's a different thing. It's an independent IP. It has nothing to do with Zack's DC stuff. So this is how we know it's like you said earlier, it's a coordinated cabal of people that literally hate Zack Snyder for no good reason. It's just they get clicks when they speak negatively about the man. They get clicks when they go after there's money in hating Zack Snyder, and there's money in hating his fan base. That's all it could possibly be, because what did Rebel Moon do to deserve all the hate that it was getting? All the early reviews that were coming out were trash. Everything called it trash. Everything said it was a dumpster fire. Everybody came out at it in full force, like the way those people were coming at you on that Spaces that you did that day when you were totally bat flecking all of them. To me, when I look at that is more telling to me than any of the DC stuff. It shows me that it's not Zack's DC stuff. It's just Zack Snyder generally. It's whatever Zack Snyder.
Yeah, it's anti-Zack. I mean, with this Rebel Moon, I mean, people, they show their true colors. Even people that's mutuals with me. And if people don't realize, like I talk with different groups, and because I don't have this tribal approach, like, I know there's mutuals of mine that, they really don't care for Zack Snyder's films. As long as they're not obnoxious about it, it's like, whatever, you can like what you like. But a lot of people kind of expose themselves just judging Rebel Moon before even seeing it. I just don't like Zack, so the film's going to be bad, and things like that. So that a lot of people was trying to grift it for clicks, being negative. And it's like the numbers came out, and, they had to move on to something else to hate. Like I said on Twitter, we get to do all this again in April when part 2 comes out. Y'all gonna swear it's the worst thing ever, Rebel Moon part 2, but y'all still gonna watch it. You know what I mean? It's gonna do numbers, and we're gonna celebrate again like we've been doing. So,
oh yeah, and I was so blown away by the novelization for Rebel Moon that's based off of Zack's director's cut. And I just can't wait to see how that's going to translate into an actual live action movie. It's going to be bonkers to see what Zack actually does with it from that perspective, because it's definitely different from what we got on Netflix.
Interesting.
So one of the reasons why we're here tonight is because I wanted to talk about something really positive that both you and I responded to in a way that was uncharacteristic of us, because I grew up a big Masters of the Universe fan as a kid. I had the toys. I was a fan. I used to watch He-Man every day when I came home from school, and so I kind of was more than a little excited when Kevin Smith was announced that he was doing like a continuation of the original Rankin and Bass He-Man from the 1980s. I was super hyped. I wanted to see what he was going to do. And I remember being a little bit disappointed with the initial storyline that he'd come up with, but I didn't hate it like a lot of people. I wasn't one of those people that was dead set against it. Like, like the Hobbit guy that gets like 4 million views on Trash and Hobbits. I wasn't like that. I liked it. I liked it, but there were things I had issues with, but for the most part, I thought it was okay. So I wanted to ask you what you thought initially of the first part before we talk about what we
the Revelation Master of the Universe. Yeah, it was mixed feelings. I mean, Kevin Smith, first off, he's a very talented writer. So, like you said, I was excited that he was going to, actually do Masters of the Universe. That first season, Revelation, he tried to kind of subvert expectations a little bit too much. And that, if you don't execute that the best, that doesn't, I think that's why a lot of people had issues with that first one. But You know, it was like, oh, bait and switch and stuff like that. It's like, but I still say, because I'm doing actually a re-review. I'm going back and reviewing that first season as well. But I will say it's like a B tier to me because it started off explosively. Like that first episode is amazing in Revelation.
Oh yeah, one spoiler when Prince Adam gets stabbed with the sword and they literally kill him.
Towards the end, that was I was like, man, you know, I was like, they're just throwing him through all kinds of stuff in this season, right? And so it was a lot of twists like that. But I would say the beginning start great. It was kind of slow in the middle, Revelation, because it's like, okay, well, I don't want to learn about Tila this much, you know. I want to see He-Man, you know what I mean? So that's what kind of dipped for me. But then I think he recovered. You know, Kevin Smith recovered by the end of that first season. I thought it was a pretty good ending. I mean, you had like God Emperor Skeletor.
You froze again there, Syl. I'm sure you'll come out of it momentarily.
But just overall, he recovered and the season ended up pretty good.
Yeah.
For Revelation. So I didn't hate it. People was overdoing it online about all that, you know, some of his choice. Oh, he's using a woman and stuff like that. That got a little bit out of hand. But like I said, just he shouldn't have hid He-Man, you know, for a couple episodes. I don't think that was a smart move in the first season.
No, you don't take the most important character of the franchise and hide him behind Tila for the whole season. No, but this is why I was so excited with the second part. Like you, he snapped. You said it in a tweet. You said he snapped because here's the thing: he listened to criticism and understood that whatever path he was going down was not a good one. So he needed to make adjustments. And what did he do? He made adjustments and provided a very satisfying follow-up.
Man, I think he probably did the most justice for Skeletor like in the history of that character.
I agree.
Like that's excellent writing to make Skeletor, because it was like a B plot, you know, in Skeletor versus Hordak, and then he's tying in, I'll just say, She-Ra lore with that, and so it's like that was pretty masterful what Kevin Smith did right there. Now he didn't hide He-Man this time; he's kind of separated him from a sword for a little bit. I was like, okay, that's in the story, okay, you know, and so I forgave him for that. But this, I do like. I was the night that it came out. I said I'm gonna watch a couple episodes and go to sleep. You know, and you set yourself up for that, and then like you're up. I'm up 2 a.m. finishing these 5 episodes because
watching the whole
once you see that, once you see that twist with Skeletor, I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, no one's done this before. That's amazing.
They got that from old Masters of the Universe lore, like the comic books. And then they not only delved into that, but then that was what the angle that they went with for the Masters of the Universe that came out in the early 2000s. I think 2004 Cartoon Network, I think, and they kind of did that with that Skeletor origin thing.
It's there, and just it never was accentuated on like all these years, you know, and you know, Kevin Smith, he because people were saying, oh, he doesn't know anything about the lore. I'm like, bro, you can't get more deep cut than this. What he just did, you know. And then he brought Gwildor from the film, from the 1987 Master of the Universe film with Dolph Lundgren. And that film is still classic to me.
Made that movie canon, which that movie is epic.
Crazy.
And then you see later on, you see Dolph Lundgren coming out of the woodwork talking about he'd be willing to come back for another movie if they wanted to do it. I'm like, wow, sign me up. Not? Let's go.
You can CGI him a little bit, you know. Why not? They do that for Aquaman. They kind of CGI his face a little bit, you know. Let's go. I mean, if you ever was a fan at any time of Masters of the Universe, like this season, I understand the first season, people have that criticism. We just talked about ours, but this Revolution season, I don't care what era of Masters of the Universe you're a fan of, you're going to find something to like in this season, man. If you haven't watched it yet on Netflix like that, I mean, I rewatched it twice already, all the way through. Like it's I felt like a big kid, bro. I'm sitting there smiling through
the whole thing, and then they had William Shatner in there and doing it with his Star Trek references too, and it was just like, man, this is so dope. I'm like you can't. I wish that Kevin Smith would have thought this through earlier, because you really could have had a major hit on your hands if you did. I don't think anybody now, because all I'm seeing now is all these, content creators putting out stuff saying, "Oh, it was good, but is it too late? Is it too late for Kevin Smith? Is it too late? Like what are you talking about? He writes the ship. This is how a lot of these people are so used to grifting negatively that they have the inability to ever stop and pay attention and look when somebody does something right. Like, what can you say? Like, wow."
It's a negative grift, and that's literally how people get clicks, or sometimes that's their persona, and I don't knock people's hustle. Like that's what you do to pay the bills, whatever. I was talking to Zod about this behind the scenes, is that I just want to enjoy stuff, bro. Like I just want to talk about what I enjoy. Now, hey, if it's something I'm really looking forward to and it's trash, then yeah, I can have fun trashing it too. But like you said, that video, you said someone said, "Okay, this is good, but is it too late?" It's like, bro, like, so you can't even allow yourself to like it. Like you can't even allow yourself to enjoy content. You got to find something negative. And hey, to each his own with that. But those who like stuff, who wants to like stuff, this is a good season to watch.
Yeah,
Retro No Girl. Yeah,
people are still calling it woke. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's definitely not. It's definitely a lot better than what it was, and it's a great story, especially if you're a fan of the lore and you know about these characters. I mean, I kind of had a soft spot for the first part because Kevin Smith threw in Wonder Bread He-Man. Okay, and if those who know about the mysterious Wonder Bread He-Man action figure that was released in the 80s, that's very, very rare, that literally goes for thousands of dollars on eBay right now. This Wonder Bread He-Man was actually featured as a background character when they were in the like the heaven portion of Eternia. In the first part, he's a brown-haired He-Man, and he's got the, it's sort of but it's just a variant of He-Man,
right?
But it's it's a very, very rare, and you would only know that if you know about the He-Man lore. So the people that say that Kevin Smith doesn't know the He-Man lore, I don't know what they're smoking, because it doesn't get any more nerdy or deeper than the Wonder Bread He-Man, and the points that you mentioned about the Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren, that character being used.
That was awesome.
Again, was awesome, come on, working with Orko. I mean,
really, that was cool.
Like, this is epic.
And those who's calling it, well, like I'm at a point now where I think it's clear anyone calling this woke, they're just afraid of women or something. Like, just really, it's getting to the point. I think they're just afraid of women. Like, they just can't talk to them, or like they're intimidated by what, I don't know. Because like, if a woman just does anything, they're just like, "Oh my God, it's woke." It's like, bro, like, chill. Like, this is,
I don't get that,
man.
Either. I don't get that either,
weird.
Especially because we finally got the resolution with He-Man and Teela that we all wanted from back in the day as kids watching the original He-Man.
And as meta as that, like that's husband and wife voicing them. The voice talent is amazing in this show as well. You got the voice of Spawn voicing Hordak. You
Yeah.
know, it's just Keith David. Tony Todd is Scareglow. He was in the season 1 too, but it's like the voice. You missing William Shatner. The voice talent is just as impressive as the animation. And I'm just saying, like, now some of these people maybe they just weren't really fans of Masters of the Universe. Yeah, because if you were just a little bit of the fan, you found, like I said, I was geeking out, man. I was geeking out early in the morning, like, man, I gotta watch this. I gotta finish this.
Yeah, I mean, there was no way once you start watching it, particularly this second half, you're gonna get excited, and I really hope that there's more, because they did kind of leave it on a cliffhanger where they were setting up something that you would only know about if you were a fan of the lore. I know who that character was at the end. I remember. I know how that sets up. I mean, let's be honest.
Masterful, man.
If they want to set that up, all the people crying, I'll just say this, all the people crying and complaining that this is woke are going to be in for a big surprise when they see what's next.
But it's like, if that's the actual character, like, if they call that woke, they don't know the lore. If you're calling that woke, you know what I mean? Like,
they don't
just
know.
literally. You know what I mean?
I mean,
yeah, I think more is supposed to. I believe either they're working on another batch or something like that. Because that cliffhanger, yeah, that's nuts. That's gonna be epic. Whatever they do next.
We had we had Lena Headey as evil, the voice of Evelyn, for God's sake. I mean, come on. I mean,
Mark Hamill was like
Mark
killing
Hamill
it.
Was killing it. And again, they had Mark Hamill and William Shatner in the same production.
What? They had a scene together,
versions of the same character having scenes together. I mean, it doesn't get more geeky than that.
Yeah, people that's just come on.
People just, I was blown away by it. I loved it, and I couldn't wait for more. And yeah, for those that don't know,
pretty much,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. What they're setting up,
or a version of her.
They're setting up a version of her, but that was her, because I remember. In the original She-Ra lore, how they started it out, how She-Ra was essentially a slave to Hordak.
Yep.
And she didn't know about all the atrocities and things that Hordak was doing to the people. So she had to have the wool pulled out of her eyes by by He-Man and the Eternians, so that she could. And at the end I was thinking, man, that's the same. That's her before she becomes She-Ra. That's the same character. They're gonna do. Kevin Smith is gonna go down that same road.
He's doing it.
He's gonna do it, and it's gonna be deeper and darker than what we got before.
That story, just a story you just mentioned, like that's a couple episodes right there. You know what I mean? Like, this is gonna be pretty epic when he executes this.
I personally, I can't wait. I hope he gets a chance to do it. This is actually doing well on Netflix.
Yeah.
Obviously, even the first part, as controversial as it was to most, it still did well. So that's why you're getting more. Like,
yeah, I mean, Netflix is very open with their numbers, which people was trying to trick us with Rebel Moon. It's like the numbers right there, buddy. You know what I mean? And so with He-Man, it was in the top 10 its first week. Kevin Smith's really happy with the performance, and hey, like I said, I say keep watching because I think he's setting up something really cool.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, man, we got to talk about this, because we were both excited. We were both kids at that time. We both enjoyed He-Man, and we finally got a true to form version of He-Man, which is awesome. And I think it's about time. So I would definitely be down for a sequel to the Dolph Lundgren 1980s canon films, Masters of the Universe. I think that would be That'd be epic for them to do it now. Like after all this time. Wow.
Why
But
not? I think
I don't know
Netflix
if they,
had the
I don't know if
rights
they
to
would.
the
I don't know.
film,
I
or
don't know if they would go
yeah.
back to. I don't know if they'd go back to Earth though, like they did in the first film. They might. Well, they might though. They might.
I don't know, just because that was because of technology. They had to kind of modernize it, but now they can go crazy. You can go to the castle and you can be on
You could have
Eternia.
all that. Yeah, you could be on
You know what I
Eternia
mean?
because special effects are what they are now. You don't need to do all of that. I mean, yeah, it would be cool. Numbers don't lie. Collective analytics. There you go. So
yeah, I mean, I expect an announcement. Like, I mean, I think it's been a successful week. It's only been out for like a week, I think, and I'm pretty sure Netflix they announced some stuff pretty quick. So, I'm expecting like a part 2 announcement or something. Like, it did pretty good.
yeah, and again that cast, that voice cast that they have is amazing. So they should just continue with that and never make the same mistakes again. Numbers don't lie, critics do, and that is the truth. And we learned that with Rebel Moon. 100% Rebel Moon highlighted that like nothing else that we've ever seen. I think Rebel Moon was their worst attack since BVS. I got to be honest with you. I mean, wow.
They tried, but at least with this, thankfully the Snyders are with Netflix. So Netflix was very transparent. They were praising Zach, on Twitter and stuff like that. And so you saw the numbers. Like, you literally saw it. It got so bad with this, what do you call this, Snyder derangement syndrome? It got so bad, Zod, that I literally I showed people the numbers, and their only comeback was, well, now Netflix metrics don't matter now. Like, I'm like, bro, so y'all just want to hate this so bad, anything Snyder, that now the numbers don't even matter now. It's just not good enough.
Just like they're going to use the excuse when Superman Legacy flops, they're going to say it doesn't have to make money to be a hit.
They already starting that too.
And what I love about that is it's because all of James Gunn's fans are basement dwelling losers that don't pay to see movies. They don't go to see anything. So, of course, the movies are going to flop because think about it, Syl. Every movie that came out for the DC EU towards the end, with the exception of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is doing surprisingly okay.
Okay.
And what was the other one? God, what was the other movie? I think Black Adam.
Oh yeah,
with the exception of Aquaman and Black Adam, James Gunn literally promoted every single one of those flops. He promoted them, he hyped them, he told people to go see them, especially Blue Beetle, right? And look what happened. And yet all these people that were on there attacking people, wishing death on them, giving them death threats for not supporting James Gunn, none of these people went to see the movies. They didn't go see the movies. These are if James Gunn can't get these people, can't get his fan base to go see these movies that he is involved in, he has notes in, and they're all using excuses like, well, he didn't direct the movies. He didn't direct it, so we don't have to support it. So every movie for the DCU that comes out, James Gunn is going to have to direct in order for you to go see it. By that metric, the DCU is going to be a colossal failure. And there aren't enough of these Gunn idiots to make Superman Legacy a hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be real interesting when Legacy comes out because, like you said, we have this trail of numbers and we have historical facts, and I mean, it has to be a hit. The Warner Bros. And when I say that, I mean Warner Bros. Is going to make sure it looks like a hit as much as possible. Like, if the numbers are below Black Adam, they're gonna pay the critics to say it's great or something. They're gonna pull out every means necessary. So get ready for that.
Oh yeah, and I don't. Do you think that Superman Legacy is going to be a critical hit? I do, because the media loves James Gunn.
Gunn is going to put certain things in there, to placate Rotten Tomatoes and different critics. So he's going to do something like that. I'm thinking like Guardians 2, Guardians Part 2. I didn't think it was a good film at all.
No,
But
me either.
people was like, oh, it's a story about a father, and so Gunn's going to try to placate the critics a little bit. But this film, as I reported, though, Gunn tried to deny this. Now, y'all see yet another character has been announced for the film. This is a DC showcase. They are putting all these people in Superman Legacy to impress Universal or whoever buys DC. That's what they're going to do. That's why they're going to fast track Batman Brave and the Bold, because the entire Bat family's in there. I reported that a year ago. They're putting everything possible in these films, and they're praying. Basically, Gunn, like, it's called Superman Legacy. This is Gunn's legacy. He's trying to get these films going. So even if he gets fired, his name is going to be attached to it. If they continue it. So this is his shot. It's his legacy.
Gunn should have cast himself as Superman. I said that before. I don't think I think at this point he would have been better served, because at least people would have watched it just for the pure comedy factor.
He said him and Superman resemble, like that.
Right. He sees himself in Superman.
Yeah.
That's what I wasn't kidding when I said I see myself in Superman. Well, guess what, James Gunn? Nobody else sees you as Superman, and even your fans don't pay to see your movies. So Superman Legacy is going to flop. I just don't see it doing well. I don't see it doing any better. I don't see it doing any better than Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, to be honest with you.
I think all I'm saying is, like, if they got to buy out some theaters or something, they're going to make sure this film is a hit in some measure. Just get ready. Just get ready.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a financial hit to be a success. It's not about money, as long as he's got enough basement dwelling haters on Twitter, death threatening people who don't like him. He'll be fine. It's not about that. It's just about, do they like it?
As the fairest, Snyder fan out here talking about all DC and Gunn, like, all I'm saying, Gunn, like, you better hope this film is somewhat good, because, like, I can only imagine the memes and everything. If this film is trash in any way, oh man, it's going to be a field day. It's going to be a field day on this.
And this is also a great point. Aquaman 2 only earned that big is because they had the China market. Yeah. Without the China, again, this is what you've been saying. I mean, imagine if Black Adam got a China release.
Oh man, would it hit 600?
Would be a different conversation.
Yeah, would have had Man of Steel too. It's crazy, and just for some reason they didn't have China, and there's other reasons, but still, it's crazy. They could have re-released it in China, but Gunn wouldn't want that. So
no.
And when I say that, it's because he wanted to move as fast away as possible from the DCEU. I don't think it was personal with The Rock. It's just that, Gunn was just like, let's announce this reboot and let's get away from these films as fast as possible so I could launch mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what incentive does he have to prop up other movies that he really doesn't care about? And
he doesn't benefit from it.
That's the reality. Like, and that's where I say, if any movie should have done well with Gunn promoting it the way it did, it should have been Blue Beetle, because he was very specific about Blue Beetle being the first character in the DCU.
That was weird, right? Like, first that was weird for him to say that, like, out in the open, that this is the first character, but the film's not connected. But basically, the actor, I don't have to pay him that much, so yeah, he's going to be in the DCU. And his word held nothing. Like, you remember that short time when Zach said, "Hey, I'm gonna go see Blue Beetle," and it was a swell of activity about Blue Beetle, just like 2 days on Twitter. Like if Zach really like went out there and was like at the premiere and stuff, Blue Beetle would have made double its money.
And not only that, I love how Gunn's fans were blaming Snyder for Blue Beetle flopping, saying that because Zack Snyder came out promoting Blue Beetle. It's like, what are you talking about? James Gunn's been promoting the hell out of Blue Beetle, and you're gonna blame Zack Snyder because he said he can't wait to take his kids to see it?
I'm so lost. I'm so like, how is that like Zach only helped? Like I know for a fact that just it's a handful of people, but when Zach sent that post out about Blue Beetle, they was like, oh, I'm gonna check it out now, just to see what Zach's talking about. So, and that was just a simple message Zach put out. If he really would have went hard, I mean, the film would have did better. So now it's like, how much
he did that
sway does Gunn have?
He did that as a favor to Luca and Abdi, I think. Really he did. I don't think Zach would have even mentioned Blue Beetle had he not been asked to say something.
Possibly. I mean, they have a good relationship with DeLuca and Abdi, and so I wouldn't doubt he did as a favor.
Reddit Gunbots turned on Angel Manuel Soto for praising Zack Snyder. Oh yeah, the director, when he said good things about Zack, and he said that some of his he got some Man of Steel. There's some Man of Steel references, and there are, in terms of certain shots of Blue Beetle in that movie. If you look, they are direct, Man of Steel type shots, just like Vision and WandaVision. There's quite a few Man of things that are lifted directly from Man of Steel because Zach is the blueprint.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan told us that Zack Snyder's the blueprint. So now people say, "Oh, we can't trust Nolan now." Like these guys, these haters are just crazy.
They can't trust Nolan. Nolan, brings out the biggest movie of all time. We can't trust Nolan.
You can't trust. I'm like, okay, you anonymous person or Christopher freaking Nolan? Yeah. But trust Nolan.
We're gonna trust Nolan 100% of the time at this point because there's no reason to. I don't know, and I feel like these people that are putting their faith in James Gunn are just delusional at this point, because I don't think he could do it. It's like all the hatred right now that Suicide Squad versus the Justice League video game is getting because of the way that they handled Kevin Conroy. I know you know about this, and I just and when I look at that, I'm thinking, but that's James Gunn right there. That's James Gunn's mentality. That's the kind of stuff you can expect from James Gunn in the DCU. What do you think? This Suicide Squad, that's James Gunn's freaking baby. Do you really think that you're not gonna get that with these movies?
Yeah, I mean, basically jobbing the Justice League. Like, I mean, it's just, man, like I said, I mean, he has like the JSA in there. I guess Supergirl's in it. It's like, I don't know, bro. This is going to be a hodgepodge of a film.
I mean, and I like Millie Alcock. I think she's a cool actress. I liked her in Game of Thrones. I actually think she'd probably be cool as Supergirl. I just don't want her to be James Gunn's Supergirl. That's all. I mean,
too late.
It's kind of like when you mentioned in your stream you had earlier about how everybody just kind of forgot about Sasha Kaye. And it's like, she did a great job, and it's horrible that she's not getting, because I considered her to be one of the bright spots of the Flash movie. But
well, yeah, I mean, the whole time, like as soon as the Flash, had such a low opening weekend, that's when I was hearing it. I think I put the report out too. That basically, they're obviously the reboot's already happening, but it was like a hope of like Elseworld type stuff. It was like, that's dead. After the Flash opened up so low, Sasha Kaye was done then, and Gunn just kind of strung it along, just like with the Gal Gadot story. Gal thought she was getting part 3. I was told specifically, like, no, none of the Justice League is making it. Like, none of them is crossing over. So when Gal came out saying, hey, it's a possibility, my sources held to that. They was like, no, Gunn doesn't want any of these actors except, Blue Beetle and his people that he picked.
And his Peacemaker people. And his wife. His wife will definitely have a big part in the DCU. She's going to be the glue that holds the entire DCU together. I guarantee you she's going to have a huge
I was told originally, like, it's you still gonna have Waller, but it's gonna be like hardcore, like right there with Waller. As far as like the what do you call it, the Nick Fury, and then his brother has like 5 roles. So
yeah, his brother is like the great, like Sin Havoc says here, Guns, Friends, and Family package. That's exactly what we're getting. And I mean, even he left poor Zachary Levi out in the cold. He really did. He left poor Zachary Levi out.
He didn't do numbers. I mean, that's all. The problem. It was more of the. I forgot the director that quick. Shazam, but it was more of Gunn passing on his vision, because if he would have kept Zachary Levi Shazam, then he would have to carry over some of the stuff the director was doing. I can't believe I forgot that guy's name, but so that's what that was. Zachary Levi may pop up as voicing some voicing
hey guys, I think I'm going to need a therapist. I'm just as dumb in reality as the cheesy character I play in Orange Tights. I actually believed that if I took intimate ski trips with Peter Safran and other members of the Gunrunner scumbags, affectionately known as the GRS, I would have gotten my pick for any DCU character I wanted. Sean Gunn gets to play Maxwell Lord, and well, I didn't even get a fucking phone call. It's bullshit. Supremely sad, and now I hate myself.
That's rough. That's rough right there.
So there you go.
That's rough right there. But I mean, literally, he's gonna probably get another role though. It just his Shazam, it didn't do numbers, so it was a wrap.
His Shazam.
David Sandberg. Thank you.
Yeah, and then I kind of feel bad for Sandberg, because I think Sandberg is a good filmmaker. He's a respectful filmmaker, but unfortunately, he was just the victim of the regime change, just like everything else. And Gunn's notes. I mean, everybody is the victim of Gunn's notes, and that tanks their movies. So,
well, I mean, he made the Flash film worse. Like that's crazy. There's footage that I reported on.
We needed that footage that we know was shot. Everything, we need that director's cut of Moose.
It's all there. You know what I mean? It's all. He decided, nah.
Damn.
I don't that. Yeah.
Insane. I think that with George Clooney, we could have, I didn't mind. I said this. I didn't mind seeing George Clooney in the movie. I just didn't like where they put George Clooney. I didn't like seeing at the end basically making the DCEU a joke, a punchline, rather than having it be some meaningful reason for him to be there. And that just goes to show you what James Gunn's mentality is for DC and why he's not the guy for the job. That right there. Well, what he did with the Flash disqualifies him automatically.
He didn't like, that because I leaked the Clooney stuff. Again, that's another one of them situations where
he hates you for that. He's got a grudge against you for that.
That was not supposed to get out there. So as soon as I heard the ending change, that's what my source told me. And I made it very clear that was Gunn's idea from the beginning. People can go back and watch the video. It was James Gunn's idea to put George Clooney. He thought it was a nice slapstick way. And I'm like, man, like, if this is the DC we're expecting, bro, like, oh my goodness, like, these are your ideas, bro. That's not good.
He needs to cast a straight up comedian for Batman. Like, he needs to cast he might as well cast the guy from Steve Carell. He might as well cast him for his.
Might as well, but I mean, and I said in my original report too, it's just a cameo. Clooney's not in a DCU, thankfully, on that, but they are about to cast their new Batman, which is we was talking about earlier. It's going to totally overshadow Matt Reeves' Batman. Like, why watch Pattinson? Like, how does that look? Is that like, you're making a Superman film right now, right? Superman Legacy. And then you hear, hey, Henry Cavill's about to do Man of Steel 2. Who would watch Superman Legacy? Like you know what I mean?
That's the
Why would you do that?
That's the last topic of the night, man. And I'm glad you said that, because that transitions into the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is sells ESJL to Netflix, sells Snyderverse to Netflix. Okay. This is the thing. And what you just said is kind of the whole enchilada right there. Like, we get the Snyderverse on Netflix. Who's going to care about Superman Legacy? There's literally no hype right now for anything that Gunn's doing. Gunn literally has to talk to himself on social media and praise himself. So what hope does he have for Superman Legacy or his DCU? And that, to me, is one of the things that I think is kind of like going to be tough for Syl, because regardless of how much we all support it and believe in it and believe it to be a possibility, we still need WBD to sign off on it and say, yes, this is what we need to do, because we're broke and we need money. But you got this megalomaniac ego running DC right now, James Gunn, who doesn't want anybody to play with the toys but him. So that to me is the thing. And the perfect example you gave was Man of Steel 2, who, you know, if we know we're getting Man of Steel 2 with Cavill, why would we care about the counterfeit version?
Right. So you basically, it's about packaging. So, and this is just me saying this with Syl. Obviously, this is the only way we could see Zach's version.
100%. Yes.
Again, right. So it's not restoring the Warner Brothers. Is don't even try to wait on Universal, and because when Universal's a favorite to buy Warner Brothers. They got some wackos on Twitter saying I guaranteed Universal. But anyway, if Universal buys Warner Brothers, and let's say they kind of like what Gunn's trying to do, they will jack what he's doing and still do their own thing. Universal will. They're not going back. Universal's not double. My point is just is sell or nothing. That's my point.
Yes.
With Snyderverse actors. So I know a lot of people are asking for all kinds of projects and things like that. All I'm expecting, if or when this happens, is Zach to finish a version of his story through Netflix.
Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. That's
Netflix said. Yeah, Netflix said the more Zach, the better. You know, again, Scott Stuber, he's speaking for entire Netflix. I think there's multiple execs that feel the same way Scott Stuber felt about more Zach, the better. He can't speak for the licensing company. He's Netflix film. Again, weirdos get confused by just facts like that out there. But it's like, so more Zach, the better. They want to license DC Snyderverse, and they want to do more. Zach said if they get the version of his characters, he'll do it. And so that's what I'm seeing. That's our hope for that. And we're going to continue to push for that with the engagement, with Rebel Moon, with Part 2, keep engaging. And so that's my expectations. Obviously, if we get more than that, that's great. But I'm right here with just the, like you said, the example of 2 Superman films. Let's just be honest. Like I said, I'm just expecting a Justice League project.
Yeah,
that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and Zach will do it back to back. So if he has plans for Justice League 2 and 3, when he gets those actors, he knows his time's limited. He'll do 2 and 3. He'll get it done, and then anything else we get will just be bonus material.
I'll take it, but it's like you see different memes on Twitter. They're like, they want to go back and get the old Adam project, and I'm like, that's cool. I just want to kind of be focused on what's doable, and hey, I'm not even sure about the Ayer cut because Ayer was
Well, that's where I'm at too. I wouldn't count on Ayer being included in this package deal. And,
exactly.
At one point, I thought maybe, but then with the way it took Ayer so long to finally break away from James Gunn's, James
that was
Gunn's
very public
clutches,
too.
that it just seriously, brings up a lot of stuff. It's like almost like red flags with David Ayer.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I don't know like why he took so long to open up and finally be like,
They're just like, this ain't
I'm
working
on
with
board.
Gunn.
Like
I
this.
mean,
If someone were to have told me that my quest to get my cut released would end because of James Gunn's fraudulent ass a few years ago, well, to be honest, I might not have bothered to make the movie. Suicide Squad was a labor of love for all involved, and it got snatched away because of greedy, reactionary studio sons of bitches who have no faith in the filmmakers they hire to bring these stories to life. I believe wholeheartedly that Gunn is using ChatGPT to write Superman Legacy. He doesn't understand these characters, and he damn sure has no love for DC as a brand. When Legacy flops harder than the last 4 DCU movies, maybe then WBD will wake the fuck up. I don't know. At this point, I really don't see them being profitable again until they are sold to owners who give a shit. I don't get it.
Yeah. So, it's too little too late, David Ayer. David Ayer.
No, we needed that in 2021 when The Suicide Squad was coming out, and David Ayer called off the dogs. Basically, there was going to be a trending event. You know,
remember that? Yeah, remember that. I talk about that all the time. That's how much because that's when I lost respect for David Ayer, when he called off the trending event.
Yeah, because just momentum. So like you said, with what Netflix is talking about with Zach, and again, he's secure, for probably another 8 to 10 years, right? And they're saying more Zach the better. They're talking about Zach's characters. That ain't sound like Ayer cut, to be quite honest. Now, the literal part of this, though, you know how we got the Snyder cut, because it was literally like a separate movie. Now, I know we both know Will Rowlands. He saw the Ayer cut. He saw the actual Ayer cut.
Yeah.
And he talks about the differences, but can they release it as a separate release? That may be what holds up the Ayer cut from being sold third party. It's kind of different from the Snyder cut situation. You know what I mean? And so we'll see, man. But it just Ayer kind of threw his hands up.
Like I keep saying with the Snyderverse. If you consider the Snyderverse marketed under the Zack Snyder's Justice League banner, which is those 3 films, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you consider those 3 as the Snyderverse, as a separate brand, there's a reason why Zack has his name attached to that. It's separate from all the DC EU stuff that they put out. That's why when you get DVD sets that are, the DCEU box sets, none of those movies are ever in there because those movies are considered separate. Well, with Ayer cut, you'd almost have to do the same thing. You'd have to release it as David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and it would have to be its own thing, and then it could be marketed separately from all the rest of the stuff. And maybe that would have happened. And I believe Mikey was right, and that it would have happened had James Gunn not been put into the position that he's in. James Gunn is the reason we don't have the Ayer cut right now, apart from David Ayer's own actions. David Ayer is responsible in some ways too, but it's mainly James Gunn, because James Gunn doesn't want a superior movie coming out to his Suicide Squad garbage that he knows, everybody's going to love the Ayer cut. He knows the Ayer cut's a better movie. Look at how successful this current Beekeeper movie is. David Ayer's newest film. I mean,
it's doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good.
Ayer's not nothing to sneeze at.
With Ayer, that's part as far as with Gunn, his reasoning is more on getting away from, those actors too. Like, he definitely don't want to use Jared Leto in the DCU, right? So it's like, but don't count out Margot Robbie. Don't count her out. That's his friend. I'm just saying he gonna pluck who he wants. But yeah, it's no way. I don't know how Ayer fell for that story. There's no way Gunn wants the Ayer cut out at all.
No,
at all.
No. He has everything to gain. He has everything to gain by keeping the Ayer cut buried. Gunn has nothing to gain, and I said this before. You know, never trust somebody that has more to gain by screwing you than working with you. You're not there's nothing there, and that's the problem with David Ayer. David Ayer was trusting James Gunn, and James Gunn has more to gain by leaving the cut buried and just stringing David Ayer along as a cheerleader. It's nice that David Ayers finally saw the light and is no longer, believing in Gunn anymore. But I think it's too little, too late for James Gunn. I mean, for Ayer, I really do. I don't know how he could jump on the bandwagon now. I don't see how it's even
imagine possible. Like if just in the middle of us fighting for it, just release the Snyder Cut. If Zach came out and was like, "Oh, I'm just done. It's not even worth it no more," and I'm just I'm cutting bait now. This is stuff Ayer was saying about the Ayer cut. If Zach said even an inkling of something like that, we all would have lost it.
There wouldn't have been no Snyder cut, man. Because remember when WB wanted to put out an extended cut of the Whedon version? I mean, remember those days? The extended cut of the Whedon? I mean, imagine that being a thing. Like, wow, no, thank you. But see,
that's crazy.
That just goes to show you. I mean, and Sin Havoc points this out. Margot Robbie is one of the reasons the Ayer cut hasn't been released. Yeah, because Margot Robbie has a certain image of herself now, and she's not very fond, allegedly, of how she was depicted in the Ayer cut.
Is that and again, like the how they're going to release it? They basically, like you mentioned the example, call it David Ayer Suicide Squad. Then that's a whole separate project, meaning you got to cut more checks. You know what I mean? And Margot Robbie, she may be like, I'm not taking a pay cut here. If y'all going to use, my likeness again, I want you got to pay me for a whole nother movie. You know what I mean? So that could be holding it up is what I'm saying. Now, Zach, he has such a good crew. They found ways to work this out with Cavill and everyone for the Snyder cut. So the behind the scenes stuff, that's a real thing. And yeah, I believe for a number of reasons, Margot Robbie's like, oh no, I ain't gonna, I ain't getting my cut. My producing team needs a cut. I need everything. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that Ayer cut, she is going to take. They're going to have to give all their money to Margot Robbie to get that released,
especially after Barbie.
right. She writes her own ticket now because of that Barbie movie. So that's another issue. But man, Syl, I gotta say, man, it's been such a pleasure having you here with me on Late Night Q&A again. It's always fun to team up and stream with you about anything. We always have so much fun, more fun than we did when we were with the boy band guys. It really is. It really is. Things really are a lot better than they were. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. No, we definitely got to do more of this. And, like with my streams, I got to get you back over there more often too, man. And what you doing, you and A-Pass, great team up. I don't know if some straggler may hear me saying this though, but I remember a few people Zod tried to team up with, and I'm just saying this is so great. What's going on with A-Pass right now? Because I saw them all.
With you've seen them all. You've seen all of my attempts, and the thing is with A-Pass, it's truly something special, and awesome. I love her to death. We have this great thing going on. Great chemistry. I don't get it is working, and I kind of I mean, and you know, because you've tried streaming with different people, you see how this works.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare when you find people that you can stream with on that level, that you're compatible with, where you can make it work. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to find a good streaming partner for a regular thing that you do. It is definitely not. And to me, I give all the credit in the world to APAS, because she's been so open and wonderful about everything, and she just and she has so many great takes on things, and it just makes it easy to do. It's one of the best thing. It's one of the best things I've been involved in, outside of my collaborations with you. So I'm very grateful and thankful for the way things have turned out. And, it's just nice to see things, balancing out on that level. It's like, I used an example when I was telling APAS about it. I said to her, with Syl and Mikey, I always looked at Syl and Mikey as the blueprint, as the literal blueprint to how you do those things, because it's not easy to find somebody to work with you on that level, and to try to build a brand, and to try and forge forward. You go through a lot. You go through a lot of trial and error. You get a lot of bumps and bruises, but eventually you find something that works for both of you. And that was the thing. Your collaboration was second to none, and it will always have the legacy will always be there, because we're all honoring Mikey's legacy to this day, and it's going to continue, because Mikey is going to go down as legendary as he should.
Definitely. And that's why Geekosity is continuing. And, Mikey Sutton's name is always going to be on it. So it's still Mikey Sutton's Geekosity. Like I said, we're doing this to, obviously help his family, continue to help his family. And just carrying on the legacy, really expanding on it, so that's going to be a real cool thing and as far as my collaborations with Mikey, I mean, the videos are still there. Like, I still see people pulling up old videos through the analytics, hey, those are cemented, time capsules there, and so,
sometimes it's great to go back and watch an old scoop set. I mean, it's good.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Because those times, we was just out here having fun and not worrying about all the haters and stuff like that. And so that can continue. But like I said, those days happen, and they're still there. So definitely continue to enjoy that. I appreciate y'all continue to supporting those videos. And all I'm saying now is that the next phase, let's support Geekosity, and appreciate everybody being real patient with just the aftermath of all this. I know everyone was wondering with all of Mikey's projects what's going on. I know updates will come, when it's needed, but I just think it's cool that we know this is continuing with Geekosity.
With Geekosity, yeah. But have you heard anything on the Dreamwalker front?
As far as the comic, I spoke with those with the comics, so there's still there's still that period where everyone kind of just stepped away from everything after Mikey passed. And then it's about working out just contractually, again, with his family, estate, and everything. So that's what's kind of holding up a lot of stuff. As far as, and the same thing with the TV series. Things are still in place for that. It's just it's the business side of it that still needs to be worked out. And I don't blame, I think we all can understand with the family, decisions they have to have made, and they weren't really ready to make a lot of decisions just on the fly. So how much time they need, we're not going to rush them. But like I said, I'm pretty sure we'll get some kind of update with Dreamwalker, because that was like the big one, the TV show. That was a big one. So that's what I'm looking forward to, updates on that too.
Okay. And what do you got coming up next, Syl?
Yeah, man, just continuing, with like I said, my live streams, hasn't changed. So anytime something comes up, I try to pop up on the live. I did start doing some stuff on my Patreon. That's more frequent updates of just all kinds of geek news. Having a lot of fun over there with that. And the show is on my Patreon. It's called Daily Planet. That's actually the show me and Mikey started for my Patreon a year ago. And so we're talking about continuing legacies. That's what I'm doing on the Patreon as well. I mentioned the second channel, Geek Network. So that's basically just different clips of stuff. I'm gonna start doing comic book reviews, gaming reviews with Taladia. I gotta catch up with Taladia again. That's gonna be fun. Alicia, she's working on other projects as well. I'm gonna get her back. She's been popping up on streams lately just to get her back used to jumping on. I don't know if you saw, I did a couple of videos with Danny of Comics and Cosmetics. She's into the geek stuff as well too. She's helping me with some other reviews on stuff too. So we're all over the place with this, and we're doing sports too. Though I don't watch sport, but we could do the sports channel with sport too. So I'm pretty much busy every day. I wake up, I do like my day job because I can work online doing that, and then I try to just hit up the content where I can, man. And at the end of the day, it's just what do I have fun doing? Like I'm not gonna spend too much time on just stuff that I hate. You know what I mean? Or just stuff that's like negative. I just don't have the time of day.
Shout out to Venom, whatever, you know.
You know what I'm saying, bro? But it's like if I'm looking forward to something, like you mentioned the Suicide Squad game, I may have to talk about that because I was looking forward to that, but I'm disappointed in the story in that. So I would talk about stuff like that, but you're not going to see a lot of James Gunn update like daily updates for me. But if something sounds interesting, I will talk about it.
Guy going out there doing like almost like a daily diary on Superman Legacy. I don't know what that dude's doing, but hey, whatever.
I can't do that, bro.
Whatever gets you views.
As soon as I get a leak from the production of Superman Legacy, that's going to be a hot video. So I'm waiting any day now. Any day now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's back, definitely.
Well,
definitely.
I want to thank you, Syl. I want to thank the chat here. It's been a great and lively chat as always, and I will be back with another late night Q&A coming up real soon. Coming up next, I actually have a pass on late night Q&A because awesome. I've never had her on late night Q&A, and we're almost at 100 episodes. So I told her I gotta get you on late night Q&A before I get to episode 100. But before that. There will be an episode on, I want to say February the 10th. There will be a brand new episode of I Don't Get It. So be looking out for that. And again, thank you everybody for being here. This was wonderful. And I guess both Syl and I will see you around in streaming YouTube land. Okay, good night, everybody.